Nice avoidance.
Oh my god.
Hey, how's it going? Eric again. Just kind of documenting the Road to America, obviously, and wanted to touch base on the recent endurance race I was a part of. I want to say probably 2 weeks ago or so, on sim racing, not an actual endurance, as much as I'd like to actually be out there like at IMSA or in the World Endurance Championship. And for those of you that don't know what endurance racing is, it's usually at minimum a 2-hour race, going all the way up to potentially a 24-hour race. Now, it's not just one driver driving the whole time. That would be a little too much to have one driver drive for 12 hours straight or something like that. So there's usually teams of 2 to 3 drivers, sometimes 4, and they'll take shifts. So I was a part of that. We were racing at Watkins, Glen, which is based out of New York. It's one of my favorite tracks out there. It's a very fast and flowy track. And then we were using the sim game, Asseto Corsa Competizione. And I was invited to race along with 2 much faster drivers, Fred and Johnny. They're both a part of Pulse Simsport, and it was just I want to say it was a pleasure to race with Fred because he's been real instrumental in getting me from the back of the field to basically the midfield, and depending on races, anywhere from upper mid to top 5, which has just been phenomenal for me compared to where I was even a year ago. So I ended up putting a little bit too much pressure on myself, though, just because I didn't want to be the one holding too much faster drivers back, because they had the pace to definitely be in the front. I had the pace to, like I said, be kind of in that midfield. So it was a lot of damage control on my part. We ended up having Johnny take the first shift, and because of that, he was going to qualify too. And there was a kind of a short scare with qualifying being in the wet for a bit. So that means we were a little unsure about the tires and when to switch out. With Fred and Johnny being more experienced drivers, they timed the switch really well to the tires, so we were able to get pole position. Johnny and Fred took the first initial shifts, and then I ended up taking a third shift. Now, with my third shift, like I said, it was just damage control. I believe we had like a 90-second lead, so that gave me a lot of room to work with and took a lot of pressure off of there, just because I was probably about 2 to 3 seconds slower than the fastest guy, depending on my laps, sometimes even 2 seconds, which was really phenomenal for my pace. So basically, when it was my shift, my first lap was a little hesitant, just because just that pre-race jitters, and basically I just had to kind of shake that off and really get going. With me as a driver, though, I don't like talking too much, other than like necessary information of like if there's a big crash up ahead, if I need to be pitting soon. It's just like real vital information, because Fred gets on the radio and says like, oh, you're like, you're lapping the same speed as 4th and 5th place, really good job. And then as you see in the footage, I miss my shift. I shift too much actually. So instead of going 3rd gear, I go 2nd, and then right away Fred gets on the radio, is like, all right, I'll be quiet.
Good lap, Eric. Good shift. Good shift. Lapping at the same pace as 5th right now, so you're doing good. Okay, I'll be quiet.
I do appreciate it. It was just the motivation from there, and him being, maybe not proud, but like, excited that I'm running at a decent pace. And then Johnny later hopped on the radio saying like, oh, really good pace, stuff like that. And immediately I start messing up my laps because I just need to be hyper focused on there. I'm not saying I'm as good as Kimmy, but Kimmy is a driver who's very much like that. Like, just don't talk to him. He's infamous for the clip that I'm about to show with the just leave me alone, I know what I'm doing.
Okay, Kimmy, next car behind you is Alonso. I'll keep you updated on the pace.
Just leave me alone, I know what to do.
Okay, Kimmy, we need to keep working all 4 tyres, please. Keep working all 4 tyres.
Yes, I'm doing all the time. You don't have to remind every second.
From there there was a chance that I was going to take another shift, but there was prediction of rain, and Johnny is the rain expert of the group. So luckily, as we were looking, it just started to rain at the end of my shift, so that means I wasn't going to take a second shift, and we were able to time it almost perfectly, because if I went around again, the rain, I might have been able to do one more lap, just because when it rains, it's not like the track gets really cold and super damp right off the bat, but it would be better just to switch off the tires, get the head start on the wet tires, and then have Johnny's take over. And then from there, he did a phenomenal job of maintaining the pace, and I was pretty happy that, I mean, it's a lot of time, but over my shift, I lost about 40 seconds, but I was still able to maintain the lead with the crew.
You can start the engine at 3 seconds.
So, and then Johnny was just maintaining the pace, phenomenal wet race driver. So it was really cool to see what he could do in the Bentley. And then basically from start to finish, the team led every lap. It was really cool. It was a big thank you to Fred and Johnny. Like, they really carried me. I mean, they've been really nice with me having this, you know, like, oh, you know, you did your part. But for me, it was just basically like damage control for the most part. And then I guess the biggest scare was there was a Ferrari up ahead that had basically spun out.
Yeah.
And because I saw them kind of messing up, I got off the gas, got on the brakes really early, much earlier than you should, and that gave me enough leeway to avoid them with them coming back onto the track. So, I mean, I had to make sure to stay on the track, and that's one of the toughest parts about endurance racing, is like, just because you have the fastest outright pace doesn't mean you'll necessarily win, because it's over the course. And for our case, it was a 6-hour race. But, you know, some races go 24 hours. You can't have, you know, just a couple quick laps. You need to be consistent over time. And luckily in this game, there's not really like any chance of reliability failures. So basically we can just kind of run straight through, not have to worry about suspension. Brakes can wear down over the course of the race. You could blow your engine if you're real dumb about it, but that's super rare, you know. So basically we were able to run out. And then it was a really fun experience, because it was my first time doing endurance racing with ACC. I've done endurance races in iRacing primarily, with my best finish being 5th place at the 24 Hours of Daytona with a team I ran with, which was really cool. A very long race, so 24 hours, but it was a blast with the teamwork and how everyone came together and really pulled through for a really, really strong finish. Before then was not a great finish at Watkins, Glen for me. And then we had some trouble at Road America with people basically running us off the tracks and ramming into us, which was unfortunate. So that was that was my last race, and one of the last times I stopped into Asseto Corsa Competizione, and right now it's just been extremely focused on Asseto Corsa with the Spec Miatas. I believe my race is probably in about 2 weeks or so, been really hammering that there, and basically just wanted to talk about my first endurance race win. Big thanks to Pulse Simsport, Fred, Johnny, and a big thank you to Bug Blasters Incorporated for sponsoring me. It's always cool that I can put them on the car. I always do my best to put them on any of the cars I race on online, which is really awesome. And looking forward to the race coming up. Thanks a bunch. See you next video.